Yo, hello everyone, it's Aimer here, and today's video is gonna be pretty fast. It's actually just going to be a new build for Luna, now with the trigger modules. Um, Honestly, there's not really much of a variation that you can use for Luna because of her skills, but this is the DPS one. I'm not focusing on support one because no one really uses her as support, but maybe I will do it. So with that being said, let's get straight into the video. All right, so here we are in the build page, and as you can see, it's pretty standard. There's nothing crazy going on here. However, I'm gonna explain like some of the modules, right? So as we know, obviously, maximize skill and maximize power are the most efficient modules on Luna because of how her skills works, where they virtually have no cooldown. However, be mindful that if you do miss a single node, the cooldown will be really long and you will lose the buff. So be careful with that. Okay, so sorry. Obviously, Luna needs full critical hit rate and critical hit damage. So we're gonna go emergency measures, front lines, skill insight, and skill concentration to max the crit percentage and the damage possible, right? Um, Amplification control and skill expansion for the increased range in our AoE damage here on the skills. And these two modules right here, Decimator and HP Amplification, you can kind of like flex them with something else. For Decimator, if you are doing anything outside maybe the action fields, you could probably try multi-talented because Luna is like really strong right now. So you will kill everything probably before the buff. The debuffs apply to the enemies, but still, if you are more comfortable with Decimator, Decimator is obviously a bigger damage than Multi-Talented. However, it's up to you uh, which one you want to choose. Multi-Talented doesn't require any debuff on the enemies, so it's a perma 30% attribute power modifier, and Decimator requires you to kill enemies with a debuff. So keep that in mind. And HP amplification, honestly, the problem with Luna is, well, not with Luna, but she needs the Enlightened Mage external component set. And that set barely gives any HP. So if you remove HP amplification, you kind of lose a lot of HP, right? So right now in action fields, the enemies hit harder and are a little bit more tankier. So with Luna, I'd recommend that for ease of use, go with HP amplification. However, if you do not want to do this and want to go maximum damage, you can go Spear and Shield for the defense and skill power modifier instead of HP amplification. The defense will help you mitigate a little bit of the damage, but honestly, it won't be that much. So for ease of use, go for HP amplification. Now, the trigger modules. As we know, Luna has two type of damage skills. The one is tracking projectile, as you can see here, and the other one is normal AoE. If we go into her trigger modules, we can select the which one of the skills are we gonna buff with the trigger module. And I tried doing Death by 1,000 cuts with the unique weapon, but the thing is, the way it works is just you need to cast your first skill, which is the weapon, over and over again to trigger the stacks, right? So it's not like you can just put it out once and then shoot it and you will continue getting stacks. So Death by 1,000 cuts doesn't work on Luna, sadly, and honestly, I didn't see that the damage was like super crazy, so I don't think it's like super worth. Now, here there's only two options as you can see. It's the particle conversion emitter and gap in time. Particle conversion emitter is the support one, and honestly, we don't really care about that one. And gap in time, as you can see here, it says hitting an enemy with a normal AoE type skill deals additional damage. Additional damage trigger rate is inversely proportional to the caster current skill cooldown reduction. And it says additional damage trigger rate base 100%. I don't know if that's a minus skill cooldown. And it says additional damage. It goes from 5% to 35%. I rolled the highest one, so I'm using it. And I will show you how it works in a little bit. So that's it for the build. pretty straightforward, nothing like super crazy or that hasn't been unknown. And as far as the external component goes, obviously we're gonna go Enlightened Mage because that's her most damage since she stacks the passive effect like really fast. And as far as the reactor goes, we're gonna go with screw critical hit damage and singular power boost ratio. This will give us the most amount of damage possible for Luna. And as far as the weapon goes, there's no weapon that helps Luna, but I do recommend that you use a weapon that has weapon cores of the grappling hook because the sprint speed cores do not convert because of her unique weapon. So I recommend grappling hook instead of sprint speed. Now that's it for the build itself, and I'm gonna like show you next the arc tuning and everything, the inversion reinforcement. Okay, so here we are in the arc tuning tree, and as you can see, it's pretty much straightforward. We're gonna go all the way to the right side until we get the enhanced skill power with picking up the skill cost and the skill effect range. We're gonna go all the way up for the cooldown. The cooldown doesn't really like help us a lot, but it's still there because we need to put it. And all the way to the left until we get the critical hit damage here. And obviously here to the right side to our mutant cell, which we are gonna be using non-attribute cohesion. When defeating an enemy has a chance to grant non-attribute cohesion to self, which is just like a mini decimator. And yeah, that's like pretty much it. Final preparations also works with her fourth skill, but as you know, it's a cooldown 30 seconds with a duration of 15, so not really worth. And there's not like another one that you could use for DPS Luna at least. So this one is the best one, at least for farming everything. And as far as the inversion reinforcement go, um, as we know, we are not like super high level yet, so I would recommend that you unlock this passive as fast as you can because this will give us a lot of skill range and skill power, so means more DPS. I'm using right now Focus Boost, which is skill cost minus 0.8%. But if I had to use another one with my points afterwards, I'm gonna be using probably Arc Circulation Tactic. And honestly, deploy Hardened Shield because incoming damage modifier up to 10 stacks. So it's 10% damage, incoming damage modifier that you get, you receive 10% less damage. So it's really nice because Luna is always frontlining. She wants to be like in the front of enemies in their faces to do damage. And honestly, this one is not that bad because it says on skill or firearm hit on enemy grants deployed resonance device. Skill duration plus 4.9% for 10 seconds, right? Duration will give your buffs more duration. So in case you like screw up a note, you can kind of like recover a little bit. But honestly, it's like okay, not the best. But there's nothing like really going on here, honestly. And you don't really like use anything else. Sadly, they removed the one that grants you max HP on stacks because it was super powerful, probably. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna be using. Um, Now I'm gonna show you how the trigger module works, or at least how I think it works. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna leave you with demo of the build in the action fields. Okay, so here we are in the laboratory. Don't mind the damage. The damage is not really like really important right now. Here I'm gonna show you how the trigger module works, or at least how I think it works, right? So as we know, it deals additional instances of damage whenever you use Luna's skills. And it says that the additional trigger rate is inversely proportional to the caster's current skill cooldown. So since our cooldown is like, I guess like 0, we can get it to trigger like really fast. Plus, remember that our cooldown is also technically like really high because of maximize skill and maximize power, right? So the way I think it works, don't quote me on this, it might not work like this, but it kinda, I think it is like that. So see, since it's the inverse of our skill cooldown, since our skill cooldown is like really high, the trigger rate is gonna be like kind of fast. And I will show you why I think it works this way. So I'm gonna remove it right now, just so you can see what I mean, right? So I'm gonna go into the enemy and I'm gonna trigger the skill. As you can see, okay, hold on. Let me just stack my full crit. So there we go. A full crit stacked. And as you can see here, everything is orange, right? All of the numbers are orange in orange color because of the crit rate. Now I'm gonna equip it again. Now I just need to find it. Here we are. All right. I'm gonna stack it again. Sorry. There we go. And watch this. So now as you are seeing on the screen, there's additional numbers, the white numbers, which are the trigger module. And as you can see here, while I'm pressing the skill over and over again, every time it hits, an extra instance of damage is triggered, and obviously means more damage. Now, as you can see here, every single time I press the skill, and during the whole like super buff skill, it still is triggering, right? Like really fast. Now, the reason why I think the higher the cooldown is better for this trigger module is because if we go with a high cooldown skill base build, we're gonna have, like you see, nimble fingers, MP conversion, focus on an attribute, focus on singular. Like I have like a lot of cooldown now, right? Supposedly. So I'm gonna trigger my crit rate again, so you can see. There we go, and watch again. As you can see, the white numbers appear way less, right? Same here. They appear, but on a way less basis. So I think, like I said, it might not work like that, like this, but I think it works. The higher the cooldown, the more it triggers. And since Luna can bypass that really high cooldown with her skills, it's probably one of the strongest trigger modules that exist right like in the game. Like I don't know if they did that on purpose, but for Luna, at least that's how it works. Uh, that's what I'm not talking about like DPS, because it will be like really hard to calculate every single instance of damage that you get. But I'm gonna do it again just in case. I change my build to the high cooldown one, and as you can see here, the white numbers appear way more frequently. So that's pretty much how the trigger module works. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave you guys with just one random mission on action fields. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll see you guys. Peace.